Hello, let's read lesson 27. The students talk together on food. Hop, can we have a talk this morning, sir, about food, about breakfast and lunches and dinners and so on? It is a subject that interests me very much. Mr. Presley. Certainly, Hob, but Lizzie could tell you more about this. She is the person who cooks our meals. What did you cook for breakfast this morning? We had fruit, boiled egg, toast, bread and butter, marmalade, and tea. I had a Olaf. I had a breakfast this morning that I enjoyed very much. A cereal, bacon and eggs, marmalade, toast, coffee. I think there's nothing like an English breakfast. Lucille. No bacon and eggs in the morning for me, thank you. My breakfast is always rolls and coffee. Frida. You can't drink English coffee, can you? Lucille. Luckily, at my hotel, there's a cook who is French, so I can drink the coffee. Mr. Presley. So you don't like English coffee? Lucille. Oh no. English people can't make good coffee. Olaf. That's true. Their bacon, their bread, their butter, their tea are always good. Their coffee is always bad. Mr. Presley. Where must I go to get good coffee? Lucille. Come to France. We always make good coffee there. Jan. I like Polish coffee. Our coffee is always good. Olaf. Come and taste the coffee that we make in Sweden. There's none like it. We make lovely coffee in Switzerland. Coffee with thick cream in it. Mr. Presley. Pedro, you know many countries. You must give me your ideas. Pedro. Well, the coffee in South America is really first class. Then I got some Egyptian coffee in Cairo that I enjoyed very much. I drank some good coffee in Turkey. The Dutch know how to make coffee. It is always good in Portugal. Mr. Presley. And what about England? Pedro. In England, I always drink tea. Mr. Presley. Thank you. I know now where I can get good coffee. All the students. Where is it, sir? It is in my country, isn't it? Mr. Presley. It seems to be in all countries except England. Hob. Do you know the story about the man who was having breakfast in an English hotel? He took a drink from his cup and then said to the waiter, Waiter, is this tea or coffee? The waiter said, Can't you tell the difference, sir, by the taste? No, the man said, I can't. Well, answered the waiter, if you can't tell the difference, what does it matter which it is? Pedro. I think there is a sameness about English dinners that makes them uninteresting. Boiled potatoes, roast beef that is often burned or not cooked enough, cabbage that is watery and tasteless. Olaf, well, you can say what you like, but give me my English breakfast and English food generally. Jan, I think Olaf is right. Good roast beef, nicely browned roast potatoes, and hop, interrupting. I know a song about roast beef, or the roast beef in England, or the old England roast beef. I'm sorry, that is the only line I know. Lucille, we are not sorry. The line that you sang was quite enough. Jan, as I was saying when Hob interrupted me, where can you get roast beef like English beef? Or mutton like English mutton, Pedro? Or soup like English hotel soup? Nowhere, thanks heaven. Hob. Do you know the story of the man who was having soup in an English hotel? The waiter gave it to him and then, looking out of the window, said to the man, "It looks like rain." "Sir." "Yes," said the man, as he took spoonful of soup. "And it tastes like rain, too." Jan. Soup doesn't matter to me if I get some good beef and potatoes and then some bread and cheese and butter. After lunch like that, I can work all day. Hob. After lunch like that, I can sleep all day. Pedro. The hotel that I am staying at is really quite good. We have Hob again interrupting. Talking about hotels, do you know the story about King George III of England? He was in the country one day and he stopped at a small hotel for lunch. He wasn't very hungry, so he had only two boiled eggs. He ate them and asked for the bill. The landlord gave him the bill, £2. The king said, "What? £2 for two eggs? Eggs must be very scarce here." "No, sir," the landlord said. "Eggs are not scarce, but kings are." Lucille. "Oh, Hope, that's an old story. You will see it in every English book for foreign students. We can't laugh at that." Hope. "Oh, you ought to be like my Uncle Ben." Lucille. "Why? What is so good about him?" "I'll tell you. Here is a little poem that I wrote about him and his wife Bertha. A dear old man is my Uncle Ben. He knows a joke, but he laughs again. He is quite unlike his wife, Aunt Bertha, who looks as if the joke has hurt her." Okay, let's read another lesson. It's gonna be lesson 29, the present perfect tense one. "Mr. Presley has a lot of books in his study, hasn't he?" "Yes, and what is more, he has read them all. When I talk to him about books, I feel like he has read every book that I have ever heard of." Frida. "Here are some modern English books. Have you read any of them, Lucille?" Lucille. "No, I don't think I have. I have read the books that most students read in their school days. You know, some Dickens and Scott and Thackeray, a few plays of Shakespeare, some poems of Byron, stories by Wilde, but I have not read much since I left school." "You have read a good many modern English books, haven't you, Pedro?" "Yes, I am fond of English writers, and I have read quite a lot." Frida. "Who are the well-known modern writers?" Pedro. "Oh, there's Galsworthy and Wells and Bennett and Kipling and D.H. Lawrence. They're not quite modern, of course. They are writers of yesterday, perhaps, but I like their work." Frida. "Who are the writers of today in England?" Pedro. "I think as novelists, Aldous Huxley and Virginia Woolf; as poets, T.S. Eliot and W.H. Auden." Lucille. "I have never heard of them. Are they very well known?" Pedro. "Quite well known, but if you want the really well known ones, they are J.B. Priestley and Somerset Maugham and Graham Greene." Frida. "I have read Presley's Good Companions." Lucille. "I have seen it in a cinema. It was a good picture." Frida. "I know some Somerset Maugham short stories, but I haven't heard of Graham Greene. What has he written?" Pedro. "He made his name with the power and the glory." After that, he wrote The Heart of the Matter. Read them both if you can get them. They are interesting books. Uncle John usually asks me what I want for Christmas present. If he does this year, I can ask him for one of them. Hob and Jan enter. Or both. Hello, are you here? Yes, we were. You were talking about books for Christmas presents, weren't you? Have you heard the story of the two girls who wanted to give a Christmas present for a friend but didn't know what to send? One said, "Let's give her a clock." "What's the use of giving her a clock?" said the other. "She doesn't want that. She has got a clock. I think we ought to give her a book." "But," said the first girl, "she has got a book too, hasn't she?" Frida. Who are the well-known modern writers of plays in England? Pedro. There's Galsworthy and Somerset Maugham, Rattigan, Christopher Fry, Noel Coward, and of course Shaw. Who is Shaw? I have never heard of him. Lucille. Oh, everyone has heard of Shaw. He is an Englishman who has written plays and thinks the two English writers are first. Shaw, second, perhaps Shakespeare. Frida. He's an Irishman, not an Englishman. He doesn't like England and the English. He has said that time and again in his plays. Pedro. That's his Irish joke. He says he doesn't like England, but he has lived in it, not an island, for 50 years, and English people have laughed at him and his plays, and have paid him very well for telling them that he doesn't like them. Shaw is a very rich man now. I know an Irish joke. It's hop. It's about an Irish porter at Dublin station. A passenger went up to him and said, "Look here, you have got 6 clocks, and they all tell different times. Now what's the good of that?" "And what," said the Irishman, "is the good of having 6 clocks if they all tell the same time?" Pedro. I have never known anyone with so many stories as you, Hop. But to come back to Shaw, have you seen any of his plays? Frida. No, I haven't. Have you? Pedro. Yes, I have seen a good many. One of them, Saint Joan, is on at the Old Vic Theatre at present. If you want to see it, I have 2 tickets here that you and Jan can have. Frida and Jan. Oh, that's very Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Pedro. Not at all. I'm very pleased that you can use them. Ah, here comes Mr. Presley. Mr. Presley. Good morning, everybody. All. Good morning, sir. Mr. Presley. Have you all done your homework? Give me your books, please. Now. Where's your homework, Hob? Hob. I have left my book at home, sir. I'm sorry. After the lesson, Frida, Jan, Ho. Frida. Has Mr. Presley corrected your homework, Jan? Yes. What has he written in your book? Jan. Here it is. You can see it. Frida reads. Frida. You have done this exercise very well. Oh, Jan, you haven't made any mistakes at all. I have made 6. How many mistakes have you made in your work, Hop? Hop. None. Jan. But you haven't brought your book to the class today. Mr. Presley can't correct your work if you don't bring your book here. Hop. He couldn't correct my homework even if I brought my book to the class today. Jan. Why not, Hop? Because I haven't done it. Thank you.